Hello everybody, my name is Average Election Enjoyer here on September the 3rd of 2025, and for this video today I just want to do a breakdown of the gerrymandering war that you see and capture national headlines in these recent months. So it all started in July of this year, if you remember. Trump contacted Greg Abbott, who is the governor of Texas, and asked him to redraw their congressional districts, that the House of Representatives districts, to attempt to send 5 more Republicans to the House. And how they would do that is an unprecedented redistricting move. Normally, redistricting is done every decade. So, last redistricting for most states was 2020. However, Trump wanted Texas to redraw their districts using using gerrymandering from Democrats to excuse it. As you know, a famous example is Illinois and Maryland. So those were 2 states that he used to excuse what was happening and his gerrymandering efforts in Texas. And then following that, if you remember, Democrat state House members, led by James Tallarico and several other members, capturing national headlines. If you remember, they all broke quorum, headed out to Chicago, where they were taken care of by J.B. Pritzker. Last time Democrats attempted to flee the state like this, it failed because they ran out of money. So, they made the right move going to Chicago, where J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, happens to also be a billionaire. So, help them solve that sort of problem. However, if you can remember, they had to return, where a member of the Democratic House, Texas House, was actually sort of held captive inside the state capitol, and was told she couldn't leave until she signed paperwork that said she wouldn't leave the capital or flee the state. So that was a really controversial moment in this, and then resulting in Texas, their district getting passed. So if you can remember, following that, Gavin Newsom, he would talk about redistricting California back to gain 5 seats back from Texas, and to sort of counter the redistricting that you see from Texas. So the state House, state assembly, would vote on it, and state senate would pass the Proposition 50, which will be coming out later this year, and I made a video on. So that'll be interesting to see if that measure passes. Currently, it seems to look like it's on the way to passing, but you never really know. Could lose favor suddenly. So we'll see if that sort of proposition passes. So that's where we are currently right now. I mean, there's other parts to it that we'll get on later, but first I want to talk about the sort of maps that you could be seeing from Texas and California. Yeah. This is from CBS. They have these nice little graphics that show the changes in the map. So here we see the current, well, not current anymore, because the actual Texas map got signed in by Greg Abbott just a few days ago. So this current map is actually what is now the old map, and this proposed map is what is now the new map. So as you can see, there's a lot of red, not a lot of blue. Of course, Texas, very Republican state. However, Texas is gerrymandered already, so these additional 5 seats just add upon the gerrymandering in this state. So here you can see this original map. You got multiple small districts here, suburbs of Dallas that will be changing. You can see there'll be some changing in the maps down here as well when we click here on the proposed map. As you can see, these districts made a little bit more red. As you can see, a district got written off here, Jasmine Crockett's seat up here. They wrote out some seats here. Actually, she's in one of these two states. They wrote her out, and they attempted to write out 2 Democrats down here. However, these are expected to be somewhat close races. Could be a bit of a dummy mander from the Republicans here, as they could actually lose at least this seat, if not this seat as well. So that would be a major just accident by the Republicans there, leaving it a bit too close for the Democrats down in these seats. As you can see, California map here. California, a lot of controversy with their map. Unknown if they're not unknown, but it's really debated how gerrymandered California is. The ratio of seats is seen as really not great. Of course, 52 seats, only 9 Republicans, even though the real split in the state is probably somewhere closer to 60-40. However, California Democrats have often hit back on that, as California's geography is just very difficult to draw Republican maps into, as these areas just tend to be just solid 65, 63, just very solid Democratic areas. There's small Republican communities here, but it would be, with the population densities, it's almost impossible to draw Republican districts. So as I was saying, these districts it's really hard to draw Republican districts here in California. However, as I previously stated, they also are attempting to pass their own map. So here we can look at that. As you can see, it's taking for these first 2 districts, it's adding a lot of blue into those districts. This district 2 is reaching all the way down to San Francisco. So cracking San Francisco a little bit to go claim that district. As you can see, it's taking these 2 districts, adding in the Democratic coast over here to make these districts a lot more blue, and also in San Diego here, added San Diego in these districts to make them barely blue. So you could see a lot of changes here in both the Texas and the California maps, and we'll just have to see if California passes. Excuse me. And then to add more onto this issue, after California said they're gonna gerrymander their own districts in order to gain back the 5 seats that Republicans, in theory, should gain, Indiana and Missouri have also thrown themselves into the hat here. New redistricting map circulating among Indiana Republicans, which would change districts. So Indiana is going to attempt to eliminate 2 Democratic seats from the U.S. House of Representatives. One map would split Marion County into 3 sectors, and it would also expand the state's 1st district into counties represented in the 2nd and the 4th. So it would be attempting to sort of crack some of the Democrats from Marion County, and then it would add on Republican districts to the other district in an attempt to sort of change these seats, flip these seats parties. And then you can also see similar plans here from Missouri. Missouri's gerrymandering plan would drastically change how Kansas City votes. They would also be attempting to crack Kansas City here into more districts, so make some of those districts more blue. That would be the Republican plan. Next I'm going to show Princeton's gerrymandering project. It's a free website you can just look up yourself. They go in depth into the gerrymandering of specific states. It can help us sort of see how this gerrymandering war will end. And this is the map that you can see from the gerrymandering project. You can see both Republican and Democratic gerrymanders. As seeing here, we have for Democratic gerrymanders, you have Oregon, Illinois, let's see here, Oregon, Illinois, Nevada, let's see, and New Mexico. New Mexico is the 4th one. So Oregon, Nevada, New Mexico, and Illinois as your main Democratic gerrymanders. And then for Republicans, the biggest examples, biggest offenders, Texas, Florida. You got Wisconsin's pretty bad. And then North Carolina. You have some racial gerrymanders here, unfortunately, in the South. So you can see there's gerrymandering on both sides, and the interesting one to look at here is Utah, which I'll actually lead into in the latest sort of news that we got from this whole redistricting war, gerrymandering war. Depends on how you spin it. You can see here, judge throws out maps in gerrymandering lawsuit over Utah's redistricting. So, if we could see here in 2014, Utah having 4 seats here for the House of Representatives. You have the 4 districts here, and you can see there's 3 very red Republican districts, and then this one district in the middle here, the Salt Lake City district. This was drawn as a sort of gerrymander here, because you can see 4 Republican seats, even though Democrats have 32% of the vote, especially with Salt Lake City being fairly Democratic, 15 points Democratic, 20 points Democratic here. So Republicans have Salt Lake City up here, and they drew in more Republican area to make this map very competitive. And it wasn't drawn with the intentions of Democrats winning this seat. However, as you can see here, as you can see for, let's see, which district? Here we go. District 4, 52-47. So still a solid victory for Republicans here, 5 points. However, 2016 gets a little bit closer there. And in 2018, Democrats, in a blue wave year, were able to win this Salt Lake City district. Not a lot of people saw that coming. Very close margin, less than a point here in this state. So in 2020, after Republicans won this seat back, they had a they put out a ballot measure that asked the state of Utah. This was in 2018, I believe. They put out a ballot measure that would create an independent commission to redraw these seats up here in 2020. However, if you look at the map in 2022, you can see that it looks different, and that was because Republicans in the Utah state legislature actually redrew the law that was passed after the voters voted for the independent commission, and basically made the independent commission invalid. Made it just a pure organization that just can comment on the maps but can't actually draw the maps and put the maps into place. So they would end up gerrymandering this district here, the Salt Lake City district, putting in a lot more Republican area, making it not very competitive. However, as I said here earlier, just a few days ago, a judge would rule that this map is actually gerrymandered, because the reason why the judge ruled this way is because the voters voted on the independent commission, and in the words of the judge, the Republican-led legislator broke the rules, broke the law by redrawing the rules of the what the voters voted for, by changing the law. Even though the voters voted for an independent commission, they changed the rules, and that was illegal. So they're being ordered to redraw this district. So the one interesting thing to see is how exactly Republicans will attempt to redraw it. They could attempt to go to something back like this, back to one very close seat. The other options is they could just draw a Salt Lake City district, make it plus 12, plus 15 Democrat. So Democrats will have one solid seat in this state, or they'll attempt to split Salt Lake, because as you can see, Salt Lake City is right here. If you can imagine, it's just right up in here. It's getting split all four of these districts actually. So that's what they're is also the problem with the map is they're splitting Salt Lake City 3-4 ways. So there'll be it's yet the only thing that is yet to be seen is how Republicans will split Salt Lake. Will they split it between 2 seats? Will they give it its own seat? That's just the sort of question that is to be answered with this future map. So that was just a little brief outline over the sort of gerrymandering war that's going on here, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your guys' day.